Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another True You podcast with me, Paula Burns, Creative Confidence and Visibility Mentor. So, this is a place where we have open discussions to understand who we are in order that we can live our lives to the fullest. And I love having various guests, usually female guests, professional business women or just professional women who are sharing their truth about living their true lives. I say this all the time that all of our lives are different. There's no blueprint that says you've got to live a certain way. But what I like to do is to bring people on who share their experience, because a lot of the times we can see various elements of other people's lives that sort of matches up with us and how we might be feeling, and also be inspired by these stories as well. So I'm going to get straight into it and introduce my guest today. Welcome, Louise Muir-Sage. I nearly said it wrong. How are you, Louise?
I'm good, Paula. Thank you.
Oh, good to have you on the podcast today. Really looking forward to hearing your story. And I'm sure my listeners are too. So just tell everyone a little bit about you.
Yeah, so I am Louise. I'm based just outside Royal Wootton Bassett in Wiltshire. I'm a Reiki master teacher and I'm also a crystal shop owner. So that's the work side. The the personal side, I guess, I'm somebody who's dealt with a lot of trauma from childhood. I've dealt with severe body issues and I'm also a recovering alcoholic as well. So that's
Nice.
both sides of me.
Yeah. So you've got, I like the fact that you've said that because, especially when I work with my clients as well, I always ask them the question, I want to know who they are as an individual. And it's great that you answered the personal and you
Yeah,
also answer the professional
yeah,
because again, a lot of the times us as business women, especially when we get to a certain age, and when we're sort of maybe running a business or in a professional space, we talk about the professional side a lot, and we get
yes,
sort of caught up in, oh, this is what I do, this is how I do it, and trying to fill this sort of script that we're told
yeah,
to do. And then not realizing all the personal stuff that actually attributes to who we
absolutely.
are
Yeah,
as an individual and what we offer to
yes,
people as well. So, and that's one of the things that I do with the mentoring that I offer is that I find that sweet spot in between the two. So, you can imagine two circles, the personal you, the professional you, and
yeah,
then you put them together and you've got that middle bit that overlaps.
yeah,
That is that exciting sweet spot that I help people find.
yeah.
So yes, I love that. I love that. So tell us, so before we go into, because we'll have more discussions about your journey and how you got here, and maybe
Yeah.
you could tell us a little bit about more about the personal stuff. But tell us a little bit more about the personal, the business side of things,
Yeah.
and how how you work through that and what you love about it.
Okay, so my business is called Something Kind of Woo, and it's a bricks and mortar shop. And I opened it, I got the keys March 2025, so still very new. And that was born out of doing an event which was called Coffee and Crystals with a local cafe. We got together, we collabed, and it just showed there was a bit of a gap in the market.
Mm,
And people wanted to learn, and people had an interest in crystals. And it was the right time. Everything aligned for me. I'm a massive believer that it will happen when it's meant to happen.
yeah,
And yeah, I opened up the shop, and September of last year, I took a second unit, so expanded very quickly
right.
to hold a healing studio. So I've got a separate place to hold my Reiki sessions, my chakra balancing, and but my it's more than a shop to me.
Mm,
So the shop itself has almost become a bit of a portal for people to meet that were meant to meet. And the amount of beautiful collaborations that have come about in such a short space of time, it's just, it sounds really cheesy, but it is magical.
oh no, it doesn't sound cheesy at all. And I love that. I love when you get to that space of magical, of special, and especially uniquely special for you as
Yes,
well. So, yeah. What do you love about what you do?
it's what I do is I've tried to make things that seem a bit woo, shall we say, accessible to everyone, whether you're a child that just likes to pick up shiny rocks, or if you're an adult that's embarking on a new spiritual path, or somebody who's always lived that way. I've tried to make it accessible to everyone by creating an environment where there's no silly questions. It doesn't feel daunting. It feels quite welcoming. It feels quite normal with a touch, of that magic in there.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah. And that interaction that you have with people, how does that make you feel?
I love it. I absolutely love it. And I've got repeat customers
Yeah.
who I'm on first name terms with, including a little boy called Charlie, who I think
Oh,
he's 8.
yeah.
And I've got him lined up for a job as soon as he's old enough.
Bless him.
But it's for some people, do you know what? They come in and it's just a conversation. And they walk in and they say, "Oh, it feels nice in here." And they might leave without buying anything, but they've come in and they've just had a moment to themselves. And being
Mm,
able to offer that to people
yes.
when we live such busy, hectic
Yes.
lives,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
lovely.
Yeah, I like that. A moment, just taking
Yeah,
that moment away, giving them that
yeah,
moment in time,
yeah,
For me, I've got a very strong faith.
yeah,
And, having those quiet moments is so important to me, to pray, to be thankful, and just to be aware of the space and where I am, and, just not focusing on the challenges, but
yes,
focusing on all the goodness. And there's
absolutely.
so much goodness that we see the challenges and we forget about all the good stuff, which is
Yeah,
a lot. Usually when we think about it, the goodness is a lot more than the challenges sometimes. But honestly, we don't see it because the challenges sort of overshadow it all. So,
yeah.
yeah,
We get conditioned to see the challenges, though, don't we?
yes,
Because
we do. We
because
do.
of social media, because of how sometimes the way that news works, they show us the challenges opposed to
Yeah,
showing us the good as
yeah.
much. So,
Yeah, they do. Right. So I want to take you back now, Louise, and I want to take you back to your childhood because
okay,
this is a question that is one of my favorites.
yeah,
Um, I love to hear about your journey. So, what was it like for you as a child?
yeah,
And then sort of growing up, and how did you get to this space that you are in now? Because there's always some sort of thread that runs all the way through, I feel like.
yeah,
And I
yeah.
have yet to speak to somebody who hasn't got that thread running through their lives. So tell us a little bit about your childhood.
Okay, so spoiler alert, there is a thread.
Oh, okay, great.
So my childhood, some would describe it as traumatic. I never felt it was traumatic
Mm,
until adult life.
right.
So I was born in 81. My dad worked for a oil company, so he spent a lot of time at sea. He wasn't actually in the UK when I was born. He was in Mexico. And my dad he's like the centerpin of my world. So when I was about 18 months old, my dad came home to my mum, and my mum had left. So she had walked out when I was 18 months old and just left me there waiting for dad. So that's really,
So sorry, on your own? You were just left there
yeah,
waiting. Right, okay.
yeah. So the day we we don't know the ins and outs as to where she was. I I've chosen to believe that she wasn't far away,
Mm,
and that she was keeping an eye out.
yeah,
So he went through a custody battle alongside his divorce, was awarded custody of me, which in the 80s, for a man to win custody of a child, never mind
yeah.
a daughter, was unheard of. Um, And that was really kind of like the beginning for me.
Mm.
I was very fortunate. My dad remarried when I was 4. So my stepmom, I've always called her mum. I don't remember not calling her mum.
Yeah.
And I very, very rarely refer to her as my stepmom because it doesn't feel right.
Mm.
Um, and I saw my birth mum on an access basis every couple of weeks
Okay.
until about the age of 6 when we'd moved. So I was born over in Great Yarmouth. We slowly moved our way over the country. When we moved from London to Swindon in 87, 88, my mum decided to stop all contact. And again, I don't really remember that.
Yeah.
It's which is really strange because I still saw my aunts, my grandparents, my great nan
Mm.
from her side, but I had no contact with her. So that was quite a big thing, I think, to
Mm.
navigate. So
Yeah.
yeah, that was in the early days when dad's and my birth mum divorced. We lived with my nan, who was from Glasgow, really thick Scottish accent. And growing up as a child, one of my memories of her was that she always told us as children that she was a white witch. And I think that's kind of played a little bit into my path as to where I'm
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
now. But yeah, so from an early age, it was that abandonment, was played a massive part in my
Yeah.
life where I am now.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you talk about it during that time? Did you have anybody to talk to during that time?
I didn't, and it was I. It's like I didn't. It's like I didn't know that it had happened and that it was a thing. It
Mm.
was my dad remarried and my stepmom had a daughter as well. So I had a sister straight away. And it was almost like life just carried on.
Yes, yeah.
Just
And
carried
especially
on.
at that at young age as well. It
Yeah,
probably just felt safe for you to just keep going through the
completely,
motions. Yeah.
completely. And I was very aware that my mum went on to remarry and have a further 2 children who I remember spending time with my brother when he was little.
Okay.
I didn't spend any time with my sister. And I'd never forget, I was sat down by my dad one night who had to sit down and tell me that Miriam, my mum, had done the same to them and got up and left those 2 children behind as well.
Okay. Okay.
So yeah, I remember that, which is really strange. So
Hmm. Sometimes, and again, okay, so tell us a little bit more then about, as you grew up and then what
yeah,
happens then, what the sort of things that you liked when you were growing up. Where did you find your solace? Where did you find your happy space?
yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know what? It sounds horrible, but looking back now as a grown woman, I don't feel like I actually had any happy space
Mm,
because I spent a lot of time keeping other people happy through
right.
utter fear that they were going to leave me,
Leave. Yes. Yeah.
complete fear. And that led to me being bullied. That led to me getting into some awful relationships in, later life. And it was that sheer thing of I need to keep this person because they're going to
Mm,
leave me.
yeah.
And I didn't
Yeah.
realize that. So, I was bullied and I just let people bully me. I was,
Yeah.
bit of a soft touch, really.
Mm,
So I just
yeah.
wanted people to like me.
And yes, that was your life. You couldn't see it in any other way. So
No,
when you sort of grew up and left school, did you have an aspirations about what you wanted to do, work wise?
I had none. I'd said that I wanted, I do remember 2 things that I wanted to do. Number one, I wanted to be a childminder because that's what mum did, or
Okay.
stepmum. And the other one was I wanted to be a warden in an old people's home because that's what my nan did.
Okay.
But again, it's that thing of
Nurturing. It was all about
very
nurturing. Yeah.
exactly. it was all those caring roles. It wasn't
Yeah.
being at the front.
Mm.
And I'd looked at things like teaching, and I wasn't very academic at school. So for me, that would have been incredibly hard. But again, to be at the front wasn't where I wanted to be. And I've always
Mm.
felt that I'm that support structure.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's how I've always put
Okay.
myself.
And then what did you get into then, career-wise?
I fell into accountancy. Um,
Totally not what you were thinking about.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And that started off just working as a temp, and I just fell into it. And it was a relatively easy job to do.
Mm. Mm.
Um, and nobody knew me in that world, and I could be who I wanted to be. And that's really for me where life started to change, not for the better. Um, but things definitely changed because I found I was adapting to be who that person wanted me to be, or who I
Yes.
felt I needed to be.
Yeah. Yeah. So for each step that you took, it was like, okay, like a bit of chameleon. You were just like,
Absolutely.
okay, let me just fit into this space and just
Yeah.
do this.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of us, years ago, when we were growing up, the choices that young people have now,
Yeah.
we really didn't. It was just all about let's just get a job
Yeah.
and go through the paces, and just
Absolutely.
see, okay, this is what they tell us to do, so we'll do this. And then, for me, it was always about, get a job that would give me progression. So
Yes.
something that I'd be able to get promotion and work my way through, good pay,
Yeah.
just sort of like go through those motions of life,
Yeah.
and I can always remember having that thought in my head that I just didn't want to go through. I knew I was doing it, but I always felt like I was different.
Yeah.
I always felt like there was more to my life than just
Yeah.
going through these motions, but you still keep doing them
Yeah.
because there is you don't seem to have any other way or any
No.
other path to
No.
go. That's what
Yeah.
everybody's doing. So we're all conditioned in that way, and especially when you're dealing with trauma as well. So
Yeah.
you've got that to deal with. So how long did you stay in that career? And
So I was in that career up until about the age of 21, 22, and it wasn't for me. I didn't like it. I preferred personal interactions.
mm,
And when you're sat in front of a computer, and I worked in management accounting, and it was about remuneration and knowing that people are going to be losing their jobs. And I think that's where that empath stepped in of I need
yeah,
to go and warn these people, although I
yeah,
wasn't obviously allowed to.
yeah.
So then I went into retail. So
Yeah,
again,
again, just moving into whatever was available. Not
completely
making a
different.
choice, not
Yeah,
making a choice of where you want to go to. It's like, oh, what's the next thing then? This is,
absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. So
So
it's
into
just,
retail, did you like that? Did you enjoy
I
that?
loved it. I
Good.
did. And what I really loved with that was the interaction with people.
Yes.
And for somebody who hasn't had great experiences with people from a young age, I really enjoyed that. And I suppose it was that thing as well of providing a service and helping
Mm,
them to meet a needs.
yeah. And I
Yeah,
think you were craving that thing about, you didn't have that interaction, so you wanted
yeah,
that. It's something that you were craving.
absolutely, absolutely. And it was so for me that was fantastic to be able to
Yeah.
do that and provide a service. And again, then I stepped into management side of things. That wasn't for me. That wasn't for me. I was,
No. You
it,
wanted to be closer to the people. You
yes,
didn't want to be up there trying to just,
absolutely not.
and I totally relate to that, because
Yeah,
all you're doing is you're doing the figures, you're doing the management of and you can't have those deep and,
no,
proper conversations with people.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
And then so I stayed in retail, went into the motor trade.
Yeah.
Um, so still in a retail sort of environment that I was in for about 7 years,
Okay.
and I ended up in a training role with that. But alongside that, I also worked for a weight loss company, and I spent 12
Okay.
years working in the weight loss industry. again
Gosh.
in that support network of trying to help people.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I love it. Do you know what? I love all the little threads because
Yeah,
even though you did all these things that you were just, floating around and doing, you learned so much from each one that you
yeah,
did. Each of
yeah,
them gave you something, gave you substance for the life that you're living now, because I'm
yes,
sure you can dip into all of those experiences. And
100%.
now, you're doing, what you do now.
Yeah.
So when did the sort of crystals come into play? I know you started your business because of an event, but
Yeah.
you obviously were involved in that before. So when did those
Yeah.
come into play?
So Reiki was the first thing for me. So I discovered Reiki after I'd been assaulted. So
Right.
that's what led me into Reiki.
Hmm.
I did the right thing by speaking with the police. No action was taken, and I was kind of left on my own. And being somebody who's not great at talking about her own feelings, I didn't want to go to a counsellor. So I knew I needed to seek something to feel better. And that's
Yeah.
how I found Reiki. So that was what helped me cope with that. And that was my first introduction to crystals as well by that Reiki practitioner. And I was 24, so
Okay.
I'm nearly 45. And it's one of those things I've always touched base with. But
Mm.
the really big turning moment for me was 4 years ago when I stopped drinking
Hmm.
and I wanted to sleep because I had the worst insomnia when I stopped drinking.
Right.
And my GP was very supportive with regards to suggesting sleeping medication. I'm very aware of my addictive traits, which I've I firmly believe I've inherited from my birth mum,
Right.
uh, who was also an alcoholic. And I decided to start working with crystals. I thought it's worth a go. And
Yeah.
I've not looked back.
Mm.
Not
Yeah.
looked
I can see how happy it makes you. I can see you're in a happy place.
completely.
And that's what we all strive for, is to find that space where we feel really, really
Yeah,
at one with who we are. Um,
absolutely.
did you did you lose your, I mean, gosh, I don't even know how to ask this question because you might have. Was there a time, a specific time that you can think, I've lost my way?
So for me, when I left my marriage, my life spiraled.
Mm,
It completely spiraled. And I should have left my marriage a lot sooner than I did.
yeah.
Neither of us were happy.
Mm,
And when I did leave, it was like I'd been set free in the world and I
yeah.
suddenly had this freedom to do whatever I wanted to
And you
do.
just went wild.
And I
Yeah.
went wild. I was out of control. I lived in the pub. I stopped paying bills. I I was self-employed working for a weight loss company, so I only actually had to go out to work 1 day a week. But
Right.
even that was a struggle.
Yeah.
And then I'd be straight back in the pub. And I spent money I didn't have. And the amount that I drank so quickly, my alcoholism spiraled so quickly. It's it's scary. I can look back now and say I always drank in an alcoholic way,
Yeah.
but the escalation of it was absolutely terrifying.
Hmm. Right. So, and how did you, when you got to that spot, how did you get out of that?
I was very fortunate. I was scrolling on social media. So it was about 7 months after my marriage had completely ended. And I'd been scrolling on social media and an account that I'd followed for ages, she had posted that she was however many days sober. And I just sent her a message. Um, I never expected a response because she's got like over 40,000 followers on Instagram. I thought, well, she's never going to come back to me. But in my mind, I was like, yeah, but then at least I've asked for help. It's not my fault
Yes.
then.
Yeah.
She not only did she respond, she called me and
Um,
we had a really in-depth conversation. I went to an alcohol support group the next day, and touch words, I've not picked up a drink since.
That's amazing. And
Yeah.
that is a story of someone who was truly doing something that she was convicted to do, because it
Yes.
wasn't just a business for her. So
No.
you contacted her and she was meant to contact you and, pick the phone up and have a proper
Absolutely.
conversation with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
She
yeah,
saved my life. She saved
yeah.
my life picking up that phone.
Oh, are you still in touch?
Still in touch. We've
Awesome.
never physically met, which is
No.
crazy, but still in touch, still checking.
Oh, fabulous. Oh my goodness. So when you decided to set up your business, how scary was that? I always, again, this is another question that I like to ask because, we when we start to go down a path that's different than we've normally done, you
Yeah.
did all of these other jobs, or all the safe jobs that
Yeah.
everybody sees, and then all of a sudden you're doing things with crystals and woo and whatever, and you're opening shops, and people are like, "Whoa, what's going on?" So how scary was that for you in terms of, did you ever think, oh, am I doing the right thing? And did you have like negative people around you who were saying, well, what are you doing? Is this right? Yeah.
So I didn't have too much negativity, which is brilliant.
Okay.
I had a couple of people say to me, "Are you sure you want to open a shop in this environment?" I thought our economy is not going to change anytime soon. So, that let's just take that away.
Yeah.
My dad, who, as I say, is like the centerpin of my world, his words to me were, "So let me get this right. You're leaving an office-based job to sell stones." I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "Okay." I I sat down with it. The shop that I'm in had been vacant for quite a while, and I wasn't in a position financially to move forwards. My divorce was still going through and things like that. And I had to sit down and work out how much it was going to cost me for the next 3 years to run that business with stock, with overheads, with paying myself so I can still pay my own bills. How much that would cost me over the next 3 years. And if I never sold a thing, how much was that going to be? So
Mm,
I threw myself into absolute worst case scenario. And I knew that money was there.
right.
So, worst case scenario, after 3 years, when I can get out the lease of the shop, if I haven't sold anything, at least I've tried.
Yeah.
I walked past the unit so many times, and the biggest question I asked myself was, how am I going to feel if somebody else opens a shop in there?
Absolutely. You just know that you have to do it, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I'd sat down to do some planning. And again, this is where all those past experiences come in.
Yes.
I'd had the experience of management within a retail organization and account.
Absolutely.
So I was
Yeah.
able to sit there and pile all of that in this beautiful cafe where my events started. And I'd stepped outside just to get some air to clear my head. And I came back to a little note on my keyboard from Gemma, who owns the Little Gem Cafe. And it just said, if you're looking for a sign to open your shop, this is it. And I carry that in my purse.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it's little things like that that I realized that there were more people cheering me on that maybe weren't particularly loud about it, but were
Hmm.
there, and they were there from the start, and they're still there now.
It's still there. Yeah. Yeah. I love it. It's so beautiful to hear,
Yeah,
the story, and to see, just the joy in your eyes
yeah,
about where you are now, from where you've come from to where you
yeah,
are.
yeah,
It's beautiful. It's lovely. I've got some, we're sort of going to wrap up with a few quick
yep,
fire questions.
perfect.
We've got a bit of time so you can sort of like elaborate a little bit on them. But I always end with these questions just to get a bit more insight into you as an individual and how you're navigating yourself through life at the moment. So the first question is, do you understand what makes you truly happy?
Yes. It's me, it's not other
Ah,
people.
oh, I love that. I love that.
And if I'm not feeling happy, I can do something
You
about
can do
that.
so. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. You know, oh, that is so beautiful. I love it. That is
Yeah,
something that I totally, totally
yeah,
resonate with.
yeah,
Yeah. we are we are in charge of, well, not, and when I say in charge, but we have control over how we want to feel. This is
yeah,
something I share with people a lot. you
yeah,
know if somebody makes you feel a certain way, you don't have to continue allowing them to make you feel like that. And
yeah,
it's tapping into that feeling. I think for me, it's been very much I think maybe even just in the past, well, maybe 4, 5 years, that I've been
yeah,
more aware of it, but even
yeah,
more so, say, in the past 18 months or so,
yeah,
where I tap into that feeling
yeah,
of, how does this make me feel? I think
absolutely.
if more of us do that, we won't sort of like get stuck in that place where we're just spiraling, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
But yeah, I love that answer. So the next one is, how are you with getting still to feel emotion?
I I'm so much more tuned into it now. And some of that's come from my recovery through alcoholism because
Hmm.
I used to numb it. I used to numb everything away by
Right.
picking up a glass of wine. Whereas now I'll sit with it and don't always try and understand it, but just sit with it and accept it for what it is.
Yeah.
And again, it's if it's something that isn't great, is there something I can do about it? If
Yeah.
not, I need to let it go.
Yeah.
Just need to
Yeah.
let it go. And some people will say that I'm too sensitive and I'm too emotional, and that's okay because
Mm.
that's their opinion. And I know that I'm being true to myself. And if something isn't right,
Yeah.
I'm happy to step away and go, "What? No, this isn't working
No.
for me."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And why
So,
why is that a wrong thing if you're
yeah,
emotional and
absolutely.
sensitive?
Yeah,
It is about, as I said, going back to that feeling thing.
yeah,
I feel I'm very much like that as well. I can feel people's presence. I can feel their energy. If the
yeah,
energy feels wrong,
yeah,
I'm stepping away. Your energy is not
absolutely.
right. It's just
Absolutely.
like my mum used to say, um, my mum used to say, my spirit doesn't take to that person.
Yeah,
And I loved when because she couldn't give a reason. It
yeah,
was just, because we do have our spirits that, our spirits are either connecting or not connecting. And,
absolutely.
you meet somebody and it's like, it just doesn't feel right. I
No,
don't know what it is, doesn't feel
no,
right.
no, no. And it's
So,
trusting, isn't it? That inner knowing
yes,
that,
yes,
again, we are slowly being conditioned out of not listening to. We
yeah,
need to get back to
yeah,
trusting our instincts.
I know. And also trying to people please and going back to that thing where you're thinking, oh, well, do you know what? I just need to be really nice to them, This is the good thing to do.
Why?
I know. When it's a good thing to do, but it's hurting us.
Yeah, exactly that.
Oh, it's mad. It's mad. The next question is, have you found your tribe?
Do you know what? This past year, I really found my tribe,
Yeah.
and I'm getting excited just
Oh,
thinking about it because it seems to grow every single day.
I love it. Yeah.
And for me, what I've realized is a tribe isn't a group of people who follow you everywhere
Mm,
and look up to you. It's the people that have got your back when you're not in the room. It's
yes.
people that will share your successes with you, but will also sit with you when it's getting a bit tough.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's this beautiful community where people just check in and go, "Do you know what? You've been a bit quiet. Are you okay?" That's my tribe. They're the
Mm,
people who genuinely care. They
yeah.
don't want anything from me.
No. Yeah. They're just there for you. They
Yeah,
understand you. They get you.
absolutely
Yeah.
that. Absolutely.
They get you and they've got you.
Yes.
They've
Yeah,
got you if
exactly
anything
that.
happens. Yeah.
Yeah.
And finally, the final question is, do you love yourself unconditionally?
Completely. Completely. Unconditionally and unapologetically. It's I'm not a bad person. I've made some poor choices in
Yeah.
life.
Haven't we all?
It's made me who I am. And
Yes.
I'm so happy with who I am. that all I want to do now is protect that peace,
Yes.
opposed to
Yeah.
going, well, I'll let that little bit go, and I won't now,
No.
because it's so important for me to
Yeah.
be who I am,
Yeah.
to follow my dreams,
Mm.
to fit into my box, not somebody
Yes. Yeah.
else's.
And it's okay
Yeah,
to be selfish. Why can't you be selfish? You know?
absolutely.
And as you
Absolutely.
say, it's not about being a bad person. It's about, being able to preserve
Yeah,
who you are and your peace and your
yeah,
energy. Because
yeah,
if you don't do that, you can't be other things for other people and the
yeah,
right people.
yeah,
If you are just, you are destroying yourself, you're destroying the person that you are.
yeah.
And so, you know, I do love that you love yourself unconditionally. And
Somebody
yeah,
said to me that it's I can't remember her exact words, but it was a case of what other people think of you is none of your business.
no, exactly.
I'm like that.
Really
Oh,
isn't.
okay. Wow.
Really isn't. And do you know what I find? We're in a world because of social media and everything. Everybody feels like they've got an opinion about your life and what
Oh,
you're
yes.
doing.
Yes.
So, oh, well, I wouldn't do it like that. I think you should do it like this, and I think you should do this and that. And they don't seem to grasp the fact that it's your life. It's not theirs. So
So,
you would do it like that, but I
yeah,
wouldn't.
no.
And it's also about respecting each other's choices. If the other person is doing something the way that they do it and it's making them happy,
Yes.
yeah, obviously if it's harming them and you're just out of concern or you're just giving, you give your thoughts, but don't
Yeah.
try and push yourself and on what it is that they're doing.
No, no, not everyone wants milk in their coffee. And,
No,
you know,
exactly. Exactly. So, and I think that's what causes so much angst in the world because
yeah,
people are feeling the judgment,
yes.
from all of these different sources, the different voices around them going, oh, I wouldn't do that. Why are you doing that? Who does she think she is? Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And then, taking on all of that judgment on ourselves. And then there's all this angst and sadness and, you're not really living your true lives.
No.
And this is a message I want to share, to everyone who's listening right now is, finding your true space that doesn't belong to anybody else. It belongs
Mm.
to you.
Yeah.
It belongs to you. And when you get there, it's just, you can't even describe it. You can't describe it. When you're in that space. Louise, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you and just going
Uh,
through that journey with you,
yeah.
and understanding all those little steps has brought you here. It's amazing. Where can people find you if they need, to find you online? Where do you show up the most? And, exactly, just remind us where your shop is as well.
Yeah, so my shop's in Royal Wootton Bassett in Wiltshire. It's called Something Kind of Woo. So find me on the website, somethingkindofwoo.co.uk. I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, I'm on
Oh,
TikTok. I'm
love it.
everywhere.
Oh, I love it. Oh, amazing. Thank you so much. I will share all your links with this podcast anyway, but thank you so much for being a guest and sharing your story with us.
Thanks,
Um,
Paula.
and to everyone who's listening, I am sure that you have taken away some more gems from this episode of The True You. And I will be back with another amazing guest very soon. But in the meantime, keep being the true you. Bye, everyone.